Hi guys, welcome to this week's Sunday 5 podcast. And we have some interesting news this week happening as always. And coronavirus is still growing on, and some weird things are happening in the world of cricket, like how it's happening in across the world. Hi Aditya, first thing, how are you?
12 days.
How are you?
12 more days of total lockdown. So don't even ask me how I am. I'm
Yeah.
pissed off. Totally.
So Aditya is getting no delivery, and all Amazon,
You you
whatever he
keep you
wants.
keep getting all those posters and
Yeah,
Dhoni dolls and all that. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of getting jealous, man. I'm not able to get anything here. Just one
Seriously.
book.
Hyderabad. Hyderabad is like one myth which is going on right now. We don't know what's happening in Hyderabad, but it seems to be one the only place in the world which has got no coronavirus, and every place is a green zone, and it's like paradise. So, yeah. Anyway, we are getting things done here, and Chennai has gone into full lockdown. So Aditya is really, I mean, already at least he was beating some social distancing rules before. Now he can't even do that. So tough times, man. And okay, so coming to this week's podcast, so we have five things as always. The first weird thing that's happening is all the Australians, I don't know what they're thinking about this. Cricket Australia has appointed Nick Hockley, an Englishman, as the interim CEO. So I think we should add some blast music or something after this. So if you want to know why T20, I mean not T20, 2020 is a weird year. This is enough. I mean, an Englishman is heading Australian cricket, and world is up. Should officially end right now. I don't know why he's still there. So Nick Hockley, despite being the POM as they called, he's got tremendous experience in sport. Actually, he was handling the cricket 2015 Cricket World Cup. He has experience in London Olympics. He's a guy from corporate finance. So first thing, but man, there is no respect for history right now, and what the hell, man? An Englishman is heading Cricket Australia.
Yeah, I think Cricket Australia has been a train wreck for last year or so, right?
Seriously.
So yeah, I think when we read about it, that there is so much amount of financial struggle they are going through. And Alan Border has also come out and said that 200 million was there a year back. What happened to all those reserves? And you are saying you don't have any reserves with you, and you are cutting down jobs and all that. And there is no concrete statement from Cricket Australia of what has happened to those reserves and where they did spend it. There are no proper details, and I think it's such a situation where they have to look for a POM to resolve their own crisis. It's a bad state in one way or the other. But I
Yeah.
think you said it right. He has been in Australia for 8 years. He has been part of 2015 uh, World Cup event and all that. So he's
Yeah.
more of an Australian, even though his birthplace is a POM, if I'm not wrong.
I strongly disagree, and every Australian worth of salt will disagree with that. And yeah, I mean, things are really bad. You know, things are really bad when Australians appoint Englishmen to head their cricket. So yeah, that's happened. But yeah, I mean, he is a guy who has a corporate finance background, so which is a no-brainer. So right now they are trying to solve a lot of these financial issues, right? Restructuring, and they are trying to get the state associations together. They are trying to settle down with the Australian Cricketers Association. So it's a mess in every level, and they're made like enemies across the cricketing fraternity in Australia. So probably he's the right guy to do the job. But whatever said and done, as cricket fans who have been watching the Australia-English rivalry for such a long time, this is like unheard of. Having an Englishman run Australian cricket, I think the British will be very happy today. Um, so
Uh, I think
yeah,
I think Ashes is gonna lose its value now. So let us now call Border Gavaskar Trophy as the primary series for Australia starting now. I think Ashes has lost its value.
that's like that's like Ehsan Money or someone heading BCCI. I mean, that's crazy. So yeah. Anyway, so just moving on from that, one more discussion which is going on right now, which is cricketing discussion, is who's going to be the next red ball captain for South Africa. I think QDK, Quinton de Kock, has already been named as the white ball captain, and he has pretty much all the credentials to do that. So I don't think there is a problem there. In test matches, though, they've lost out on too many big players recently, right? Like Callis, Amla, and a bunch of players. Like so,
De Villiers.
De
Same,
Villiers,
yeah.
yeah, De Villiers has been on and off, and nobody really knows what De Villiers wants. So
Yeah.
he is becoming the Shahid Afridi of South African cricket. So, in terms of making comebacks, not cricketing pedigree, nowhere near. So one of the names which has been mooted is Aiden Markram, which is he has been. I mean, he has always been the wonder kid for South Africa, right, for a long time, and even in the series versus us, he played really well. He scored a century in a difficult wicket. Kohli has high regard for him. Markram has always been marked as next big thing in South Africa. So he is one of the candidates. The second candidate is a bit of a confusion, which is Temba Bavuma, who, to his credit, has a lot of cricketing a leadership pedigree when it comes to county cricket. But as a South African batsman, he's really not cemented his own place. So to consider him as captain was a bit of a confusion for me. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think Temba Bavuma is kind of a wild card if you consider him for a captaincy. I'm not doubting his credibility as a leader or something like that. But if you really look at his performance as a player, there are very few far and few in between as a good performance, if you could say. Maybe few innings in Australian soil and few in his home conditions. But he hasn't been consistent enough to cement his place as a player, as you said, in the team, right? So if he hasn't done that, then how would you earn that respect as a player for starters in the team? And then alone you become a leader, right? So I really don't think he could be considered now. And he was also dropped. The last series they played, he wasn't even part of the team. So how do you bring him back into the team as well as name him as a captain? That doesn't work, right? Aiden Markram is more of the Graham Smith model, which they are trying to do, I believe. The process started long back, to be honest. He did lead South African under-19 team in 2014 World Cup, under-19 World Cup. So he has that leadership skills, and he's a strong personality, is what they believe. But his international career hasn't got on to a very good start. It has been a seesaw, right? He has had some good performances inside South Africa, but in Asian conditions, he couldn't live up to the expectation. And even against England, he hasn't been great. So I don't think he himself has cemented his place as a player, and he is very young. But considering now all the operations is run by Mark Boucher and Graham Smith, that there is a good possibility that they can trust Aiden Markram. But would that do good to his confidence? I'm not sure. He might have too much pressure on his shoulders to perform as a player, to regain his spot, as well as earn the respect of rest of the players. And if you look at someone like a Dean Elgar, who has been with the team during their thick and thin, right? He came in by 2013 in somewhere when Robin Peterson decided to call it a day. And this guy has been part of the successful team. And he has also seen the worst of South Africa in the last couple of years, right? And he's a tough cookie. We have seen him play. We have seen him battle out of conditions. He takes a lot of blows when the conditions are tough, but still he doesn't melt down. So he's a strong character, and that guy could be. I would suggest Dean Elgar could be the captain in transition for a couple of years, and he's at his best phase as a player, right? He's still scoring runs, and he's getting all those dirty runs for them. So I would rate Dean Elgar as the best candidate for starters for a couple of years, like Anil Kumble did for India, right? 2008-9 somewhere, before he gave it to MS. Yes. So I think Dean Elgar is potentially the best candidate for South Africa for another couple of years. And then maybe they could appoint Aiden Markram for now as the vice captain, and then see how he matures as a player, how he positions himself. if he becomes a vital cog of the team, then that's a natural transition that can happen. So that's the way I see it.
And if you take the Smith example, even though he was young and all that, he came into a very strong South African side, which had like a lot of veterans, which had like Pollock and which had Callis, and those big players were there when Smith was there. So it was not like so difficult for him to make the transition, even though he did an amazing job. And Markram being on and off, and any of the South African players being on and off right now also shows that they are in a transition. And Markram has the disadvantage of playing for probably one of the worst South African sides ever. So he doesn't have the support of someone like a Callis or someone like a Ramla and any of those players to bat around. Like Kohli had this beautiful transition when he came, right? He had Tendulkar, Lakshman, Dravid all playing around him till he became a mature batsman. That thing didn't happen in South Africa. Probably that's why his numbers are not so good. So we can't be so critical about it. Talking on Elgar, absolutely, because Elgar has been one shining light in South African cricket for such a long time. I mean, for in the recent past, which has been terrible for South Africa, he's been that one guy who's always been consistent, and he's also outspoken. I've seen his interviews and the way he speaks about cricket. In one of those interviews, he just called that performance like, "We are not good enough." So he was like outright, and he's one of those guys who's able to communicate that. And Elgar might be a fantastic choice as a transition captain. Keep Markram as the vice captain, and eventually make Markram as the full-time captain. And that's the way to go about it. That's our take from Cricket Fan Zone. Next thing is something which is interesting, which is about cricket archiving, and we all know the very famous Mr. Robelinda, who has all these cricketing archive videos on his YouTube channel. So I've been a big fan personally. I've been watching all those videos for such a long time, more than 5 years, I think. And the only way I get to see those old matches, the highlights, and some of the great innings of Sachin, any of those things, is because of this guy who religiously has recorded every match in his VCR tapes or something, and he has like footage of all sorts of matches. And recently his videos got blocked online by Cricket Australia, and Cricket Australia quickly came back and apologized for it with a tweet saying Robelinda is a very important person in cricket, and then this is not it's probably a mistake. So what we have to understand is these Cricket Australia and all those places, they outsource the intellectual law and all that to countries like India. So this has been generated from a law firm in Bangalore, is what I heard, and they have some policy, and his videos have been blocked. And so even after CA apologizing, the videos have been blocked further, and so a lot of these cricketers are coming now in support of Robelinda and talking about the importance of what he's doing. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think what has happened to him, as you said, is not something that should have happened. This guy has spent all his life collecting all such videos and information and having track records of his own to give fans like us the entertainment, right? When all the big cricketing boards like ECB, Cricket Australia, they had no interest of doing anything on YouTube before 2-3 years, right? And still our very own BCCI, the sleeping giant, is still sleeping. We don't even have a YouTube channel. We can discuss about it for hours, and we would still not understand why we don't have one.
But we have even BCCI.TV, so that old television, which nobody visits. So anyway,
I'm not sure whether even BCCI officials do visit that. So that's a very different thing, right? So when someone else is doing it, and as you have told me that he doesn't do it for minting money, that's not his ultimate goal. He's passionate about bringing all the memories back to give us all those nostalgic feeling. If he has done his work here, he has done his hard work, and then I don't think it's right to even block the video for starters. But at least Cricket Australia were honest enough to come out and say it was a mistake from one of our firms or one of our legal team, and at least they have addressed it. I'm sure, even though if it is not, the block was not released, moving forward it will be. But one gray area here would be for this person, it's all right. But I'm seeing so many YouTube channels and so many Facebook groups, right, wherein they are blatantly taking out videos from Cricket Australia or ECB or any such games that are being telecasted, right? They just record those things and then they are starting to put it in their own channel to make money, right? I've seen even videos wherein there are so much amount of pop-up ads and YouTube ads coming in between. So obviously they are making money, right? So if you're doing that and you don't give credit uh, to the broadcaster or to the channel from which you are actually ripping off those videos, then I would say if you ban those channels, that is right. But because I don't see there is any proper means through which they have done it. They have literally gone ahead and they have taken those contents which they should not have taken. So for those people, it is right. But for a person like him, who has collected all that information from 80s and 90s and early 2000 through his television sets, when no one cared to do anything like that,
Right.
I don't think even broadcasters can come out and say you should not put this video. Rather, they should do something like what is done by NBA in US, right? If you're going to use their video materials, if you are doing it for non-profit work wherein you don't have any ads in your channel, then they allow you to do it because they feel it's a publicity even for them. It's a good thing. They haven't done it, you are doing it. If you're putting up ads, then they have a legal contract with you. They say you are earning through our content, so there is a share which is due, which you have to provide us. Whatever you earn, share it with us. So that's a good thing. Anyways, you get the publicity at the end of the day. You don't have the right materials or the right passionate people to do that, and someone else is doing it, which is your brand. So you are going to earn publicity. At the same time, if you earn some extra which they are ready to share, then do that. I think a contract should be there if they see that people are minting money through their content. But as you said, for this person, I think it's a total rip-off. They shouldn't have done this.
Yeah. No, all this is rising because the cricket boards never cared about archiving. They never cared about releasing these videos on their own. So once, if you're not meeting the need officially, there will always be sources which are going to do this. And now suddenly waking up to this person and then saying this is right and this is wrong is a bit of a comedy. And as a fan channel, like, we are very disappointed that this kind of thing is happening because fans are a very important part of the game. And this person is like a super fan, right? So he's created all these videos, and I see a lot of these former cricketers also, like some of these Sheffield Shield cricketers who had amazing hundreds, who had amazing records, but there is no footage of that. And they're not really able to show all those things. This guy has crazy records of Michael Holding bowling in Sheffield Shield and all those things, right? Which is like cricketing gold for all the fans. We never saw all those things because you never showed it on TV. You never cared to put it on YouTube. So since you weren't awake to this fact for such a long time, what happened suddenly? Like, why are you waking up and banning all these things? So they have to understand that archiving is a separate and important part of the game, and it is not some kind of a frivolous activity. So they have to work out some sort of a model as this grows, and this guy is like a pioneer. So, but it is growing, as you said. Some of these people are not giving credit and all that. They really have to work out on the model to see how this goes, because otherwise it'll get into lawsuits and all those things, which is a pain for both the fan and also the board.
And especially for people who are watching this video, share your views on whether you want BCCI to wake up and create a YouTube channel.
We'll probably, what we'll do, we'll create a poll. We'll create a poll with this. We'll create a poll. Should BCCI start a YouTube channel on their own? Get out of that BCCI.
If they want some
BCCI.TV, stop being a dinosaur and wake up to the fact that YouTube is probably the biggest platform for watching videos, and don't keep hiding your videos on BCCI.TV, because anyone who is stealing is going to steal from there also. I don't understand the whole logic of it. And being the richest board and being the number one cricketing board in the country, if you're like, even I see Sri Lanka cricket, Pakistan cricket, they have fantastic YouTube channels, and the content they put is great. Like Sri Lanka cricket doesn't only put Sri Lanka wins; they put every match, regardless of India wins any of those things. So you have to get out of this petty mindset.
We should not forget that BCCI are the first people to oppose T20 cricket, later started IPL. The same people who oppose DRS. Now we have DRS. So maybe Virat Kohli needs to tell them about YouTube channels, and Chahal can help them about TikTok. So yeah, anything can happen.
Just learn from your own cricketers and see in what social networks they're operating. So yeah, BCCI really has to do that. So we'll do that, Paul, and please tell us whether you would like to see a BCCI YouTube channel. Next topic we are talking is Cricket Australia's chairman has come out and said that finally the official word has come out. Like they're starting to talk about it. T20 World Cup is unrealistic, which we have been saying for quite a while. Now there is an official word on it, and already the board is in turmoil right now, and there is a new chairman, there is a new CEO, a lot of confusing things happening in Cricket Australia. So now this person has come out and said that the T20 World Cup is unrealistic. So which is what we were saying for quite a while, right?
I mean, 16 teams. How do they expect 16 different teams to travel to a country, and how do they expect them to accommodate 16 different teams when we see that England is so cautious to play in a bubble by hosting one particular nation, and they are taking so much precautions? How 16 teams? I mean, it's a no-brainer. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
There is no way you will be able to do that. And still ICC is sleeping.
Yeah.
Still sleeping. They're saying we will take a decision next month. So what is going to change by next month? So Cricket Australia.
Yeah, they're just hoping for some sort of a miracle, I guess. Some sort of a miracle which will happen, and then the virus will disappear. And yeah, probably it is related to broadcasters or the integrity of the World Cup or whatever. So, or probably they didn't want to say that quickly because India will jump in with IPL, and they don't really want to give that advantage.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. At least if you take a decision now, players and fans, anyone who are waiting for the game to restart, they will know what to expect. Now it is like it's all in a limbo. What is going to happen? Whether IPL is going to be conducted, the World T20 is going to happen, and we spoke about it, right? Even if you conduct World T20, what is the point of conducting a tournament without fans? For a World Cup to happen without fans, there is no point of conducting that World Cup. And I don't understand who's heading ICC now. Is still Shashank Manohar there, or he's I don't know. His term is going to come to an end. And people have already started to speak about the next president. So maybe he's not taking that decision.
Yeah, maybe he's just leaving and doesn't want to make a call, and
exactly.
Yeah, he didn't want some sort of a big decision. He doesn't want to do when he's leaving.
Yeah.
So I don't see it happening. The T20 World Cup doesn't make sense, and unless some sort of a miracle happens, and also imagine the players' preparations, the physical fitness needed to play in the World Cup. I mean, none of them are playing any cricket right now. So you need a lot of time to, play at such a high level, right? And yeah, you can do what the football authorities are doing right now is adding this audience noise. We are started watching EPL, right? With just the audience. That's a different thing. Cricket doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And it's a long game, and it'll be very obvious when you don't have fans. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer that the T20 World Cup is not happening. And last thing we will discuss today is this fantastic interview of R. Ashwin to Harsha Bhogle, the reverse interview. First, Ashwin interviewed Harsha Bhogle, and now reverse has happened. And he spoke so candidly with Harsha on his struggle and the way he has come up to this level, to whatever level he is. His rivalry or supposed rivalry with Ravindra Jadeja, people's thoughts about his fitness, and how he felt so hurt about when people questioned his commitment recently, right? So you saw that interview. What are your thoughts on that?
Actually, it was a fascinating interview, to be honest. Haven't seen this version of Ashwin who is so realistic about what he is and what has panned out in his career. He really looked a level-headed person. We have generally seen Ashwin coming out and saying, I'm the best at what I do and all that, right? So people always felt this guy has too big a mouth. He speaks so much. And the likability was not there for him. We all know that. And he also keeps saying that people are judging me this way. And this particular incident with Josh Butler, right? That man kid, that didn't help his reputation either, right? So it was all bad advertising that has happened for his brand image.
But I
But
don't think
if
he's a
anyone,
guy. Yeah, I don't think he's a guy that
doesn't
cares
care
about it.
much.
Cares
Yeah,
about it.
he
And in
doesn't care
every
much.
interview, I've seen that he really doesn't care about. He is fine with what he's doing. He has conviction with what he's doing. And I also feel like he's pretty. I mean, the way he's being treated is pretty unfair. No one really comes out to his defense. Like when say someone like a James Anderson or someone makes a comment, I don't see any teammates coming and jumping on his behalf. Like, and which is also a bit weird for me because this is a guy who has taken more than 350 test wickets for you. I mean, to keep talking about his overseas record, then what did James Anderson do for such so many years? I mean, until towards the end of his career, he started picking up wickets in Australia. So suddenly, is he a bad bowler? And what happened to bowlers like Shane Warne, who struggled in India, right? You don't discredit people based on your performance in one country. Same way with batsmen, we spoke about how like someone like a Ponting who averaged 26 in India throughout his career. Do you call him a bad batsman or do you not celebrate him? So I think he's given a raw deal and wherever he's and being outspoken or whatever. I mean, you need those kind of cricketers, right? Cricket has already become boring. You don't have enough characters in the game anyway. So if you keep shutting down guys like this who are individual, original, and they say their opinion, I don't understand the raw deal he's getting.
No, that's said and done. But I think people, if they watch this interview, they will really understand what he has gone through as a player and what he understood and how much he understands the game and how big a realist he is when it comes to accepting what his game capabilities are and how he doesn't feel that he's the best off spinner in the world or he's the best player in the world. He doesn't say all those things. He's blatant enough to accept Ravindra Jadeja plays ahead of him whenever we travel overseas to any of the SENA countries. Uh, he says Jadeja is batting beautifully now, and he has become pivotal for the team. So he understands why he is losing out to Ravindra Jadeja, and he's in agreement with that. He says, "I'm happy if the team gets better benefit with Ravindra Jadeja, and I have to sit out. I would love to bowl along with him to say we play uh, kind of 6 batsmen, including a wicket keeper and 5 bowlers, even in overseas, wherein we both can bowl in tandem. We understand the game very well, but till that happens, I understand I might not be the primary choice, but uh, I'm not someone who's so disappointed by it or who takes it in a bad taste, but rather I accept the fact that Jadeja is better than me as an all-round cricketer. So he is going to be ahead of me when we go to overseas tours, and that is something I'm going to live with. And I'm trying to improve one way or the other to prove to the team that I can come in and contribute. So this is not the same Ashwin people would have heard a couple of years before. Probably he came into the team at what 24, 25 somewhere, right? So
Yeah.
he has been in international circuit. Uh, his mainstay presence is only 8+ years. It's not 10 years or something like that. Wherein he practically had 2 away legs wherever he has traveled, probably to England twice, Australia twice, something like that, right? So it also took him some time, and he was not a natural test bowler. Let us all understand. He did not come into the team because he took 300 wickets as a whole in Ranji Trophy, so that he was selected. He was more of a T20 bowler who came in, who understood what Test cricket demands are. He had so many changes in his loading position, action, etc., etc., and then he became a good test bowler, right? So for him, he says that 2013-14 he did not have a clue on how to bowl on foreign soils, particularly when you go to Australia or England or South Africa. He didn't know. He didn't have a clue, right? So he thought bowling the same length, same speed as he does in subcontinent is going to help. We might all, sit here and say, hey, how can an international cricket not know that, right? International cricketer might know that, but you should understand the way his grassroots have been. He wasn't aware, and he did not have an experienced spinner in the setup. There was no Kumble, even Harbhajan wasn't around. No one was able to tell him what he has to do. So it's almost like he has to self-learn, right? So that tour gave him a lot of thoughts on what he has to improve. And if you have seen him bowl in England when we went there, first couple of test matches, he was actually bowling beautifully. He did take out Alistair Cook twice on the same game by beating his outside edge and hitting the top of off stump. So
Yeah.
that's not easy for an off spinner to go and do in England condition. And I saw him putting so much amount of stride on his body, and he was bowling more side arm, and he was using his left arm that they call, right. They always say Ashwin does not use this arm. It's more of his shoulder through which he bowls. So he was using a lot of his left arm and his body, and he was bowling those kind of deliveries wherein those are effort balls. And if you have seen him do that, the third match when he played, his injury started to aggravate because of the pressure he was giving onto his body, which was not usual to him. If you see Nathan Lyon, he keeps bowling that kind of action for ages, and his body is accustomed to that. But this guy hasn't been doing, but he has learned it, right? At times I feel we have expected too much from Ashwin. Probably we thought he's gonna spin any batsman in any condition, and when he couldn't do it, we were too disappointed, right?
Yeah, I think
that is where our anger comes from.
Yeah, I think when he started, people didn't have too much expectation because he was a T20 bowler who came into a test side, and then he exceeded every expectation possible. So, and I mean, he beat all sorts of records, right? So, I mean, his test career is like pretty amazing. So now the reverse is happening, where you want him to be a bowler which the world has never seen. So, which we have to remember, because none of the great spinners like Murli or even Vaughan, they never excelled in every wicket around the world. I mean, they struggled. They had their own struggles. It took Vaughan so many series to fathom India. And around 2004, he started taking some wickets, and that took him so many series to understand his own skill, his craft, and all those things, right? And anyway, you have to understand that he has picked up all these wickets in a game which is skewed towards batsmen like crazy, with heavy bats and people who can clear the grounds and all that. Even though the quality of batsmanship has gone down a bit, but this is a guy who's like having probably one of the greatest records in cricket. So I always felt that he's been given a raw deal, and you have to start accepting cricketers for who they are instead of you wanting them to be a certain way, and you have to keep telling them. This happens for every cricketer in India, right?
Actually, I never understood when people started to blame Ashwin for our downfall in overseas. Yeah. I don't understand. How is Ashwin actually contributing to our downfall? It is our batting that is letting us down, or probably our fast bowlers, not now, maybe 3-4 years before, we were not able to take 20 wickets. So how do you go and blame Ashwin or Jadeja saying they couldn't do a good job? So I don't know. Maybe Nathan Lyon was better, or Moeen Ali could do better in their own conditions. But that doesn't mean you have to undermine your own bowlers. What they were able to do when they came to India.
Yeah.
Moeen Ali did nothing. And for Nathan Lyon, it took years to understand how to bowl in subcontinent. Still, was Nathan Lyon able to help Australia win a test series in India? No. So this kind of...
he is not just done that. Nathan Lyon has not just done that.
Exactly.
The disrespect cricketers get for performances in subcontinent is crazy. The batting performances, the bowling performances, it's taken for granted. If it's such a minefield, why don't the opponents take the wickets? You have to understand this, right? Like, you have to understand why Australia is not able to do the same thing to us, why England is not able to do the same thing to us. So there is a lot of skill involved in the batting and bowling in subcontinent, and we have our own inferiority complex or whatever. We never talk about the performances in India. And Kohli scores a double hundred in Nagpur or Mumbai. It is not okay. Yeah, fine. You just score a double hundred. Ponting scores a double hundred in Sydney. It's like celebrated. Like, wow, amazing.
No. To be honest, Australia is the best place to bat. If you are scoring in Australia, then you are a decent batsman. If you struggle to score in Australia, then as a batsman, you are not good enough. Yeah. That's the honest statement you could say, because those are like flat roads. When you play on day 2, day 3, it starts to spin or do something, uneven bones, etc., and cracks start to appear on probably end of day 4 and day 5. But till then, Australia is the best place to bat. So Ponting scoring 250 is good. It's not to be undermined. But that is not any different from anyone scoring a 200 in subcontinent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a minefield in Australia to say, right, hey, Ponting scored a 250 on a green seamer. No, he didn't score a 250 in green seamer, did he?
Yeah.
I don't think so. He did.
So I think the day a 5 or a 100 in Sydney or Nagpur has to be treated the same way. That's when we can talk about equality in cricket and respecting cricketers. Right?
Yeah.
This should happen.
True.
It's been pending for a long time, and as you said before in one of the podcasts, right? Our own commentators, the storytellers in our country, they never bring this up. They never talk about this. They never talk about.
They're pathetic.
They said, okay, India, okay. It's a spinning wicket. Everyone take wickets. No one does that. Like, how many overseas spinners perform well in India? So you have to start. Just coming back to Ashwin. You have to respect his skill, his record, and this guy, I think, will be one of those guys. Once he retires, you will see his value. While he is there, you will keep talking about fitness or whatever, but you have to understand this is a guy who's self-made and he has come from such a difficult background, and he has to constantly change the skills and action and all those things to adapt. So I think, the whole world of cricket has to start respecting him a bit more than what it is doing right now.
Yeah, really. That's true. That's really true.
Anyway, so kind of just wraps up the podcast for today, and we have few newses which we can call as cricketing humor. One is Mohammad Shami has come out and said that India's pace attack, the greatest pace attack in the history of world cricket, it seems so. And
no, actually, if you have seen, right, in the recent past, a lot of political leaders and many people have come out and said we are learning the history in the wrong way. We need to rewrite our books. Probably it works wonders for Shami. It should.
Yeah, I think, and he was reminded about the West Indies pace attack, and he still said we have Umesh Yadav or something. Then I just lost interest in that.
Michael Holding, are you watching it?
Yes. Now
maybe Michael Holding should watch his interview.
Holding as a YouTube channel right now, and he's going to go hard on this. So, yeah, I have nothing to say. It's part of cricketing humor right now. And second humor is Irfan Pathan saying that if he had played more, he would have been better than Kapil Dev. So I'm not going to say anything more than that. You can now, after listening to this, go back to this 1983 World Cup and watch Kapil Dev's catch of beverages. That one catch is enough. And no one in the history of Indian cricket or world cricket is going to take that catch. There will never be another Kapil Dev, and there will never be a cricketer like that. We're not going to see that. Another Irfan Pathan, yes. I like Irfan Pathan, to be honest. I like him, but that statement was ridiculous. So yeah,
on his defense, 2007 T20 World Cup, he was the man of the match. On his defense, so
yeah, probably he saw some similarity there. Yeah, but
maybe he could have become. We don't know, but he hasn't.
No,
he hasn't lived up to the expectation. No, that's the reality.
Man, Kapil Dev is Kapil Dev, man. We have forgotten it. We have got into people are forgetting Tendulkar, and so this is a world which forgets. Kapil Dev is this once in a generation cricketer, man. So anyway,
I would say if Irfan Pathan has lived up to his expectation, maybe had he done something like what Ben Stokes is doing, maybe Stokes would be called better than Ian Botham. I don't know. Maybe he could be called.
Yeah, they can do that, but you have to understand.
They can do that.
You have to understand. Ian Botham was a bit different. Kapil Dev came into a country which is not known for fast bowlers at all. He's the guy who started it.
Yeah.
And obviously you have the history of Amar Singh and all that, but Kapil Dev was the guy who started bouncing for Australian English cricketers. His batting, his bowling, his leadership, his fielding.
He was a pioneer. There is no doubt. Yeah.
Pioneer, and he was. Yeah, he never took a break. Continuously played without any injury. So his career is like crazy. So let's not go there. And then, imagine an Indian fast bowler becoming the highest wicket taker in the world. He did that, and that 175 versus Zimbabwe. That's probably the greatest ODI innings ever. From 17 for 5 to 175. We didn't really want to discuss so much on this, but Kapil Dev, man, the emotion just comes out. So that kind of wraps up our podcast today, and I hope. We hope you guys enjoyed the topics, and we'll have that poll on BCCI whether they should start a YouTube channel. High time. What do you think? Should they or should they not? Are we overrating this? So again, thank you for joining, Aditya. Despite the lockdown, there is no lockdown for thoughts. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I hope he starts getting Amazon deliveries. He'll just go mad. So, thank you again for joining, guys. Thank you.